What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tones Overthinks It, the show where I think too much to make up for the people who don't think at all. And welcome to another edition of TLDR. So as many of you are no doubt aware, last week we had our elections. One of the great founding principles of our nation is our freedom to choose our leaders. It is the absolute core of democracy. And while indeed we do also have the freedom to express our approval or disapproval of our own choices as well as the choices of others, at the end of the day, we still have that sacred right. And to attempt to sway, intimidate, or otherwise impede someone from exercising that right is one of, if not the most disgraceful violation one could commit against the Constitution. So you can imagine my surprise when I find out that Frauditors, the self-proclaimed champions of freedom, liberty, and the Constitution, are now in trouble for infringing upon people's constitutional rights. 6 frauditors in Michigan decided to go and fraud polling precincts. Unclean Hands actually covered the video of this incident, and I will leave a link to his coverage of it in the description, so you can go and take a look at it yourself. But spoiler alert, being frauditors, they got up to their usual antics. Harassing people, berating them, insulting them, threatening them, just being general douchebags. Same thing we've seen before time and again. Except this time, there's a bit of a problem. They decided to do this to people who were trying to vote. So as a result, these 6 frauditors are now facing a federal lawsuit from the American Civil Liberties Union. Now, for those of you who may or may not be familiar with the ACLU, they are an organization whose sole purpose is to defend the Bill of Rights. From the First Amendment to the 10th. That is all they do. These people live and breathe the Constitution. And they do so famously with incredible zeal. If there is even a hint of a civil rights violation, these guys show up. All of the times frauditors have been arrested, charged, tried, convicted, imprisoned, the ACLU has never once gotten involved. In fact, the closest they've ever been to even being mentioned was the video I did earlier about how frauditors don't have to go to these places to cause a ruckus and just file a lawsuit. If you guys genuinely think that a law or an ordinance violates the Constitution, then call the ACLU to help you file a lawsuit to repeal it. They live for this shit. So one cannot help but see the irony that the one time we see the ACLU get involved in a situation with frauditors, they are siding against the frauditors. Now, admittedly, this federal lawsuit doesn't call for them to be charged or imprisoned yet. All it's really asking for is an injunction prohibiting them from doing this again. And it mostly addresses the failure on law enforcement's part to not remove them. But I think the biggest takeaway overall from this incident is that you have the most hardcore constitutionalists in the country calling frauditors out for infringing on the Constitution. I mean, just how much do you have to absolutely suck at being activists and journalists for the ACLU, the biggest organization dedicated to civil rights, to not like you? And bear in mind, the ACLU has participated in more Supreme Court cases regarding civil rights than any other private organization over the last 100 years. They have fought to defend free speech against any form of infringement more than anyone. It's one thing not to have their endorsement. It's another when they see you as an enemy. This is on par with the entire LGBTQ+ community wanting absolutely nothing to do with NAMBLA. You have the loudest voices in a cause that you claim to be defending, not only telling the entire country that they think you're full of it, but are basically declaring you as anathema to that cause. Up until now, it might have been fair to say that we call First Amendment auditors frauditors purely out of hyperbole, but after this, I'd say the debate is over. They are officially frauds. Now, will this discourage them from going out and doing what they do? Of course not. Because after all, as frauds, their real reason for doing this has nothing to do with furthering the cause of freedom and civil rights in this country. But the next time one of them decides to get up on their soapbox and claim that they are doing this in the name of free speech, liberty, or freedom, we need only reference this incident. And then we can definitively say that they're full of crap. But then again, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you see here and you want to see even more in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comment section. I always love to read them. Till next time.